Hello there. What is going on, everyone? Today, we're going to be talking about a brand new game that's on Kickstarter right now, Infinity Deathmatch Tag Raid. I'd like to thank Corvus Belly for sponsoring this video, and if you want to learn more, I'm going to put links down in the video description below. But I'm actually really excited to talk to you about Tag Raid today because you may be considering backing this game. You may not have heard of this game. You may have heard of Infinity, which is a incredibly popular miniatures game. Actually, if you play Star Wars Legion, you probably have heard of Infinity. It was actually one of the games that was a big inspiration towards the creation of Star Wars Legion. It's a science fiction miniatures game, and Infinity Deathmatch Tag Raid is in that same Infinity universe. As a matter of fact, it actually has a lot of Infinity N4 compatibility. And so we're going to talk about that. We're going to be looking at some of the miniatures. This is a very, very cool looking Kickstarter. And it's also not just a miniatures game for Infinity. It's also its own board game. So you're going to get a whole lot with this particular Kickstarter. So if you're considering backing a Kickstarter, I think you should definitely take a look at this. But we're gonna talk about it a little bit in this video. Also, if you guys are new here to the channel, we are still giving away a lightsaber around the week of Christmas, so make sure you enter to win that lightsaber giveaway by being a subscriber and leaving a comment on this or one of my other videos. I'd love to hear from you guys, though. Let me know your thoughts on Infinity, if you've played Infinity before, if you have seen Tag Raid. If not, if this is your first time hearing about it, I definitely want to hear that as well. Let me know your thoughts on Kickstarters like this. I think this is a really, really cool method, and I wish more companies would do things like this. Very, very cool stuff. So what really is Infinity Tag Raid? So it's a board game. It's got hex-based tiles, and it's kind of like a battle royale. And it's actually a 2 to 4 player game too, which is a totally cool thing. You know, a lot of games, especially miniatures games, are duels. It's just me versus you. You know, your opponent versus yourself. You've each had a build. You bring some stuff. You duke it out. Well, this expands the player bid to 4. So you're actually going to kind of have like a little bit of a Hunger Games battle royale, Fortnite-ish kind of experience on your tabletop. You're going to be rolling a die to figure out where you drop in on this board, and this is a large board. Don't let the small graphic fool you. This thing takes up your whole tabletop. These are large hexes, and you know, you can actually get a really good feel. Once you're done with this video, I want you to head over to the Kickstarter page and check out some of the videos of the actual design team doing a demo game in front of you. You're going to see, like in front of an actual human, you've got the whole board set up. It's a big board. You're getting really big terrain pieces, big miniatures, gorgeous miniatures, and the fact that they're cross-compatible with Infinity is also really, really cool. So you know, Infinity Deathmatch Tag Raid is a 2 to 4 player game with miniatures that recreates skirmishes and multiplayer combat in the Infinity universe, a science fiction, high-tech universe that portrays an exciting, action-packed, near-future setting with manga aesthetics, or manga aesthetics, depending on how you pronounce that. I think it's supposed to be manga, but I've always said manga, so it's just one of the things I get hung up on. So you're going to be taking on the role of one of 4 corporations that are trying to get, you're going mining, and you're trying to get Neo material, and you're trying to get as much Neo material as possible, but there's going to be some things that are inhibiting your way along doing that. Other corporations, other players in their tags. What is a tag? I'm glad you asked. Well, these are some of the tags, and what that stands for is Tactical Armored Gear. These are these larger single-person suits. They're like mech suits. You know, a single human gets in one of these things, and it gives them increased speed. It carries weapons. It lets them kind of do a lot of the work and kind of be a force, almost vehicle-sized. So it was very cool stuff. And kind of like, you know, kind of like a little bit of a walker, you know, or kind of like a StarCrafty, Space Marine, Star Warsy, ATRT kind of thing. It's a tag, and your person's completely protected inside. You've got all this mining equipment in there. Very cool. And it's a weapons platform, too. So you can do an awful lot in a tag, and you also move pretty fast. So we've got Cave Crawler here. We've got Rock Eater. And they all have their own very different aesthetic. And, of course, you know, like, honestly, armor, metal armor on figures is so fun to paint. You get to do that edge highlighting if you're a painter on there. If you're not, you can play with them unpainted if you want, but I would never do such a thing. Never in a million years. And if I did, it wasn't me. You know, I always have to have my minis painted, but it's really, really fun to paint armored metallic kind of armor, because you get to do, you know, you can just do your base coating and then come around with, you know, like do your edge highlighting. And it's so easy, like on some of these edges too. You just get the, you know, just kind of just use the side of the brush and it captures it so nicely. And these are painted up really, really well too. I'm kind of digging that kind of that heating element. You can see it. It's like he's going to stick that in some water and just start the water boiling. Yeah. And here is Stonebreaker. And kind of like the space suit, kind of got that dome head, and then Tafang with the extra large backpack. I wonder how many bodies you can fit in there. I'm not sure, but so you're getting very cool tags for your particular corporation, but you won't be alone, because you're also going to have 2 other miners that are going to be with you on your team, because you're actually going to be able to control like a small team of 3, and so you might have a prospector and a remote on your team too. And we're going to look at some more of those too, because the second half of this video I want to switch over to the Kickstarter page and kind of show you stuff, because one of the cool things, if you've never backed a Kickstarter before, is you get so much more. You get so much more. And the whole concept is that, you know, it's like a pre-order system in a lot of ways, but you're going to get, you know, this game. You're going to get this game, usually like about a year or so from now. With shipping stuff, it's hard to give an exact, you know, shipping is crazy right now. So we got to be flexible, but you're going to get it eventually, and you're gonna get updates. You're gonna get regular updates, you know, as things are progressing and stuff. But you're gonna get so many more stretch goals. You're gonna get so many more bonuses, and there's different pledge levels, so you can kind of go lower, or you can go kind of all in. And we're gonna look at some of those, because there's really cool stuff. But I was talking about, you know, how you play the game, how you win the game by, you know, you want to get all the Neo material as possible, and some other mechs, some other tags are gonna be in the way. But there's something else that's gonna be in the way. Yes, the Mega Beasts. The Mega Beast is going to be in the way, and this is a really large miniature, and there's some dimensions, but it's like really, I don't know if it's like exactly this big or that big, but we're gonna get there, because there's a whole size comparison chart on the Kickstarter page. So again, after you're done with this video, go check out the Kickstarter page. This looks really, really fun. So very cool stuff. Let's talk about some of the compatibility and core mechanics. It does use the Infinity Code 1 system. It's going to be rolling D20s for a lot of stuff like that. And again, a lot of this stuff is going to be compatible with Infinity N4. N4 is the 4th edition of Infinity. So if you hear Infinity N4, that's not a separate thing. It's just that's the current edition. But it's also going to have some of its own movement tools, a streamlined movement tool that is going to come with this particular game, just to kind of have this be maybe a good entry point if you play Infinity and you're looking to maybe get somebody else into it and they're not so sure how they feel about war games or whatever. This is like, hey, well, let's play a board game and it's in this universe, and maybe they start to like the universe, and all of a sudden now they're maybe more susceptible towards taking some of the same stuff they love from this board game and now trying it in in an actual miniatures game. And so that much is really, really cool. Let's go ahead and do a look at the Kickstarter page. So I have it pulled up, and what we're going to be looking at here is this is what you're going to see when you go to the Kickstarter page. There's only about a week left on this particular Kickstarter, so you're going to want to pledge sooner rather than later. And and if I'm not sure if they're going to have the whole pledge manager set up, but a lot of times, even if you're not sure, you can just pledge for a smaller amount. You can always update it later. There may be late backing if you don't get it in time, but just in case there isn't, you will probably want, if this is something you think you're going to like, you probably want to pledge as soon as possible, because you don't want to risk missing out on this, because there's actually a really great value. So let's take a look at some of the pretty cool stuff here. This is kind of a nice little setup on what you're going to see, what you're going to get in the box. They're going to show you all of. Let's see. Here we go. This is what I was looking for. The core pledge. Now this is 120 euros for the core pledge. We're going to talk about what you're going to get in the core pledge. And if you're not familiar with how much exactly a euro is, if you're an American like myself, that equates to around $139. So that's honestly not bad, because you're getting a whole board game for that, plus a whole bunch of miniatures, and you're going to be getting stretch goals, and you're going to be getting more and more stuff, and also you get that compatibility with Infinity. In addition to multiple-sided hexes, you're going to also be getting, a couple of movement tools. You're going to be getting some terrain, so you can use this in your other war games as well as the Tag Raid game. You're going to be getting a lot of cards and upgrade cards, again, because it's kind of like a battle royale. You're going to be trying to get upgrades during the game. You're going to be getting cards and things to enhance your corporation in your tag during the game. And we have a nice little size comparison over here, where you can see, like the normal standard size miniatures, and then the tags, which are significantly larger, and then, of course, our giant worm, which is much, much larger than everything else. And then, of course, there's going to be some stretch goals. Now, as of right now, not everything is unlocked. So that's another cool thing about pledging early, is you get emails every time there's new updates. Things like, new stretch goals being unlocked and other kind of cool things like that. And some of these stretch goals are social media stretch goals. Some of them are a number of pledges and things like that. So, well, you know what? Instead of me telling you about it, we'll take a look. Now, there's also the Platinum Pledge. Now, the Platinum Pledge is going to give you everything that you're going to get in the core pledge, plus a whole lot more, and add a significant savings too. Significant savings. Now, I want to point out that these current price points do not include shipping, and that's going to kind of vary depending on where you live. Usually, that's something that you end up paying later, so it's not something you have to worry about like today. For 250 euro, you're going to be getting a whole lot of stuff. We're going to take a look at this, and I want to point out one thing, because that's not a small price point. But if you consider, if you play other miniatures games or other war games, how much you would spend on a new wave, like just a single wave of another product line, you're getting so much more value in this particular pledge. Now, 250 euro equates to about $289-ish. That kind of gives you an idea of where they're at. So this is under $300. So you're going to be getting the core game and all of that. You're also going to be getting a couple of expansions and extra packs. You're going to be getting the let's see, let me make sure I get the names for these right. The core box. You're going to be getting the scenery pack. You're going to be getting the Steindrag box, which is massive dragon. So like an even more massive monsters. And also you're going to be getting the search and capture expansion, plus all of the stretch goals. So, and some of these stretch goals are actually adding more things to the Platinum Pledge exclusively. As you go down here right now, there's a whole lot of planned stretch goals for the Platinum Pledge. And while there's certainly a lot of stretch goals for the Core Pledge, there are some that, and quite a few that are going to be exclusive to the Platinum Pledge. And I think you're going to definitely want those. Also, the Search and Capture has its own beast as well. And so, and there's more information on all of these individual expansions and what they add to the game. If you like mini games and you're going to invest in something like this, I think it stands to reason it's probably a cool idea to go ahead and get like all the expansions. So this way, when you get it, you're going to have a lot more gaming, a lot more variation to keep you busy. However, you might just say, you know what, I just want the core game. That's a possibility. But then you're going to miss out on some of these stretch goals. Sometimes, if things eventually make it to retail, you don't necessarily always get the stretch goals, and you might have to find them online. So, if you're like me, you'd probably rather just lock everything in now and not have to worry about trying to hunt down anything that you might not get. So that's kind of what I usually do when I back a Kickstarter. So if you scroll down some more, you're going to see like close-ups on all the minis that you're going to be getting. And this is, I believe these are some of the stretch goals we're looking at right now. How the Sterling Forge Engineer, the Roca Works Engineer, the U Minerals Engineer, and the Mines Corp Engineer. And so these are just different extra minis for each of the factions. We have the Dravot Group Engineer. That's actually a really cool looking mini right there with that big old riot shield and kind of like the cloak, like the flowing robes too. Very cool stuff. So let's talk about the Mega Beast, man. Like this is a really, really nice. Now, honestly, like this is giving me it's not the same thing at all, but like I just watched Dune recently too, so I'm definitely like in a soft spot for big worms right now. Like very, very cool stuff. We got some really nice renders of what the minis are going to look like up close right here, and of course this is unpainted. There are some really nice painted images down lower as we get kind of lower into the we kind of scroll through everything that comes in the core box and all the extra elements. We're going to get rid of these movement rulers. We've got the range ruler. We've got some triple, double, and single hexes, and they're all double-sided, so you can make a lot of different boards with these. And of course, we're getting like cardboard terrain, which is pretty cool because you can actually unassemble it and kind of collapse it, so if it's easier for storage. Or you can use this with Infinity. You can use this with your other mini wargaming terrain setups. You've got your control panel, and then of course all of your cards and your unit cards and all of the tokens and your minerals and your dice. You get a lot of D20s in here, and then your rule book and your campaign book. So if you like campaigns, hey, like, maybe your gaming group wants to run multiple games and kind of build that whole campaign out, which is a fun thing to do. A lot of people are really, really into campaign games right now. It's a very popular thing because it kind of saves your progress and it gives you something after this session to carry over into the next session. And of course, we've got the Steindrag, a giant looking dragon. This is beautiful. This is really, really beautiful. This is going to be, and most of these are going to be PVC miniatures. Some of the smaller miniatures are going to actually be metal. And so they go into some detail on what is going to be metal and what is going to be PVC. Most of the larger miniatures are all PVC, and I think some of the smaller ones are going to be in the same white metal they do for much of the Infinity miniatures. You've got a lot of terrain here in the scenery pack as well. You get an awful lot of charges, tool containers, miner bots, turrets, and antenna objectives. And then that's and now we're looking at the search and capture box. This one has a lot of other stuff. It has a whole different type of beast, the Gorlanka Kriya. And he looks nasty, and he looks like he's gonna crawl out of the holes, because the cool thing about like the big worm, there's certain like hole areas in the map, and like that's where he can show up, and I have a feeling this guy's got a lot more mobility than a worm that can only come up out of certain points. I really like this Dravot group tag. He's kind of got like a like tread on his feet, but he's got like heavily armored plates in front of that tread. He's a really good looking mech, or tag. I keep saying mech because he's kind of, mechanized, but he's a cool looking tag, that's for sure. And then we got a prospector and a remote in there with that, and extra tiles, so you can build, you can change up your battlefields, build bigger and better battlefields, and we've got new cards there, and of course another campaign book for some of the Gerlanak missions. And then the cool thing that's always fun, if you've backed this already and you've been following along, you've been able to follow along with the stretch goals. And this is kind of how a lot of Kickstarters work, is as the campaign reaches new thresholds, new things become unlocked, and of course that means winners, chicken dinners for everybody. Everybody gets more stuff. Depending on which pledge level. If you go with the platinum pledge, you're going to get all of the stretch goals. If you go with the core pledge, you're going to get some of the stretch goals. So that is pretty cool. And so lots of these extra minis, lots of extra minis. Now, some of these are already included in some of the pictures that we looked at before. And look at this, the N4 Deathmatch. Included in the search and capture expansion. So this one, it's basically telling you this particular stretch goal is specific to the search and capture expansions. Again, something you're going to get if you got the platinum pledge already. So you're getting more deathmatch minis here, and very cool. And these are add-ons. So add-ons are usually separate purchases that you can add on, and not everybody will want them, because maybe like, hey, you know what, I'm not interested in deathmatch, I just want to play, maybe the core campaign or something like that. So these are gonna there'll be a pledge manager, and then you can go around and kind of say like, all right, I want to add this, and I want an extra copy of the core pledge for a gift for somebody, or maybe I'm a retailer, and I think there's a retailer links at the bottom of the Kickstarter page as well. So we've got a lot of extra add-ons. There's a lot of miniatures in this, and the fact that it's so very compatible with Infinity N4 is just a huge, huge thing, and I wish more companies would do stuff like this. I really, really enjoy Kickstarter as a model, and I've backed lots and lots of Kickstarters. I've done lots and lots of Kickstarter videos because it's just such a fun way to kind of hype up your product and get updates, and you're seeing them work on it. Sometimes there'll be pictures and emails that you get all throughout the next year. So, and by the time that it shows up, it's been so long, you're like, hey, wait a second, I have you'll end up getting like a Christmas in July when you get a giant box that shows up when you get all of this stuff, and it's just a really, really happy day. Even more terrain is another thing that's coming out. That's like one of the next pieces of stretch goals right now. And there are social stretch goals. Some of them have already been unlocked for sharing on Facebook, retweets, Instagram likes, and even more shares. There's going to be so there's more ways that you can unlock stuff even if you've already backed and you're looking to do some social media stuff. Plus, the more that you share this, especially if you're a backer, the more you share and you get more people in, they're more likely to hit more stretch goals, which means you get more stuff. So it's just it's a great system to kind of naturally sell itself. So again, I like the Kickstarter model. I like it when there are fantastic miniatures. So this has got all like fires on all cylinders, right? So we get some great looking painted miniatures here, and like look at these guys. These guys are just completely hardcore, like 80s metal, like some kind of definitely you get the manga kind of inspiration for this, right? The dude's got like the rocket launchers on his back, and he's carrying like a giant warhammer, in one hand. I love it. I absolutely love it. So very cool. Again, go ahead and check this out. Check out some of the amazing paint jobs on some of these miniatures. They are absolutely gorgeous. And I think you won't be disappointed. It's very, very cool stuff. And again, and the cool thing about these being add-ons is you can get an extra one. So if you really like the look of the Steindrag, I don't know if it's Steindrage or Steindraga. I think it's Steindraga because it's like a dragon, so that kind of sounds cool. It sounds like Steindraga. I don't know if that's how you're supposed to do it, but I like that, right? But like if you want to get an extra one or something like that, usually that's like available as an add-on if you wanted to like get a second dragon. So that's the beauty of this type of stuff too. So there's a little bit of write-ups about the tags. And here's some of the great real close-up painted versions of these, so you can kind of see the detail on these miniatures too. I love the mining equipment on this one, and the extra little arms that are going forward. Like it's like very cool. Like you could walk up to this guy. He looks kind of like semi-peaceful. He looks like he's more out there to do work. Like you could shake his hand and be like, hey, can you dig up those bones in the ancient burial ground? Sure, no problem. Now this guy, he looks fairly friendly too, right? It looks like he's like a little more cautious. He looks like he's very hypermobile, but he's got the big drilling, the big drill in there, and I like the lighting effect that they put on him. He looks awesome. This guy, he looks a little bit less friendly. I don't know if I'd want to shake his hand. That heating element looks way too hot, and the other hand is just a straight up drill. So I don't think I'd shake his hand. This guy is a little scary, a little scary looking. But I love the painting jobs on these too, especially that blue to white fade. That's like the non-metal kind of technique. It's a really, really great paint job. So whoever they got to paint all these did a fantastic job. Fantastic job. Now this guy, I'm definitely not shaking his hand. He's just all weapons. He looks like he's just going to like go through your town and level the place. So I'm going the opposite direction from this guy. But yeah, so and then of course you got this prospecting crew. You got your engineers, which I believe these are some of the prospectors rather. And you know what, this dude right here, he's pretty scary looking. He looks like he just broke out of prison and he is looking for a place. He's looking for a meal and like a family to take hostage or something like that. Actually, a lot of these guys are pretty scary looking. Like at least the bottom two, right? And then of course you have your remotes, which these guys are all cute. They're all cuties. Well, except for that bottom one. Yeah, he looks, no, he's not housebroken. But yes, we definitely have. These are the kinder, gentler, friendlier. So if I have to shake hands with anybody, it's probably going to be one of these cute little robots right here. So, but very cool stuff, and of course some painted up versions of the Mega Beasts, which are absolutely gorgeous. These are going to be really, really fun for all you painters out there. Look at this thing. Look at it. It's gorgeous. I love the lighting effect on like those pearl inlaid kind of detail around the center of the beast. But then at the same time, look at like the teeth. Like they did such a great job. So this tells you what kind of detail this model is going to be able to capture. You really, for you skilled painters out there, to me this is a no-brainer. This is an insta-back. Very cool stuff. And of course they have some fancy moving graphics on here and some great artwork. I love it. I like the Steindraga too. The dragons are super fun to paint, especially if you have an airbrush. I love doing the wings, fading effects on the wings with the airbrush. We've got the Gerlanak there. I don't think we have a painted version of him yet, but he looks like he is on the prowl. Definitely. Oh, and now we have the scale. All right, I told you we were going to get to the scale. So 305 millimeters wide with that wingspan, 275 millimeters. Now in feet, that's like at least 25 feet tall, if my math is correct. It's a joke. It's not 25 feet tall. I mean, could you imagine 25 foot tall? No, that's incredible. Now that's definitely the largest. The worm is 161 millimeters tall. And just for reference, like your normal guy, like here's a 40 millimeter prospector. And again, the tags are going to be a pretty good amount bigger than your normal prospectors. But look at that. Like here's a normal, like kind of a normal miniature, and you go up and you look at some of these beasts. They're going to really tower over the tabletop, and that's going to be awesome. It's going to look really cool. So there are quite a few videos and additional bits of information. You can download the rulebook. It's also available on Tabletop Simulator. So if you guys play Tabletop Simulator, there's a link right here so you can check it out for yourself. Hey, why not give it a try? If you already own Tabletop Simulator, why wouldn't you at least go check it out? They built this whole thing for you. And then, of course, there's some more helpful links. And definitely check out the live demo game. It's going to give you a really cool idea of scale. And check out some of the other videos that are down here. I'm going to let you figure more about that on your own. But I think it's definitely something that you should check out. So that's Infinity Deathmatch Tag Raid. Again, this has been a sponsored video. Big thanks to Corvus Belli for helping me bring this to you. I want to thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. Also, if you want to keep the discussion going, hop over into Discord. We got links for all of that in the video description below. I will talk to you guys soon. I want to thank my patrons so much. You guys definitely help make this all possible. So thank you for your continued support. I will talk to you guys soon. And always remember to tie your sneakers before running away from a giant monster. I will talk to you soon. And as always, have a great day.